Hey guys, it's Kimberly. Welcome back to my channel. So today, as you can tell, we are doing another little episode, installment, whatever it's called, of Makeup for Beginners, Makeup 101, Makeup 101. And today I am going to be showing you how to apply foundation. I showed you how to pick a foundation and all that stuff in the last video, so today we're going to actually be putting it on. Now, depending on the foundation you want, you can use either, or the foundation you have, you can use either a brush or a sponge. And there's going to be a lot of different kinds of brushes. These are the three kinds of foundation brushes that I have, and they're all different. This is a pointed foundation brush, this is a flat top, and this is a round top. And they're all different, but they're all used for the same thing, which is to put your foundation on. And obviously you would use slightly different techniques. For the rounded and the flat top, you basically just buff it right onto your face. But for the rounded one, I find it's better to kind of more paint it on. And it really does help to get in here if your brush is smaller like this. But this is my favorite brush when using foundation, which is the Morphe M439, and it's a round top. And then you can also use a sponge, like a beauty sponge. So this would be like the Beauty Blender or the Real Technique sponge. That is disgusting. Don't look at it. It's dirty. There's even fun-shaped ones like this. So there's a lot of different things that you can use, and it really just depends what you want to use and what you're most comfortable with. But different foundations work better when you put them on with a brush, or they'll work better when you put them on with a sponge. So you just kind of have to test it out with every foundation to see which one goes on better. And I don't know, when I use a brush, this is my favorite, but I really do feel I get better coverage with a sponge. I just get more of a full coverage. It doesn't ever come out patchy if I use a sponge, and I don't know, I just like it better. It's like gives it more of a real life skin texture. But a lot of people do love brushes, and a lot of people are better at using a brush than they are at using a sponge. So it's really just up to you which one you prefer and which one works best with your foundation that you use, whichever brand you pick. But I am going to show you how to put foundation on with a brush and also with a sponge. So I'll do half my face with this round top brush and half with this sponge just to show you how to do it. So what I like to do is first shake up my foundation just to make sure it's been sitting here for a few days. I don't wear makeup to work, so I just want to shake it up, make sure nothing's separated. Just make sure it's going to go on smoothly. Then some people like to put it straight onto their hands. This one is a pour out. Some foundations have a pump. Some have a little dropper or a little spatula thing. This is a pour out one. Some people like to put their foundation straight onto their hand and then take it from their hand onto their face. I don't like doing that. I feel like it wastes foundation because some of it will end up staying on my hand. Some people will use like the lid of their foundation and just put it right on top of there, or they'll use like a compact. But what works best is a glass palette. They have some just online and different websites that are made specifically for foundation. But I just have this little like thing. I don't know what these are called. I don't know. I bought it at Barnes & Noble and it was really cute, and it was just kind of a catch-all type of tray that stays sitting on my vanity, but it's glass, so it's what I use for my glass palette. So all I do is pour a little bit on there. So I've got a little bit of foundation on there now. Now if it's a thicker foundation, then I would take this little spatula thing that's made for paint to just kind of spread it out, just so that I can have an even coat of it when I dip my brush into it. Like when I take my brush and dip it in there, if it's all the foundation's in one little spot, it's only going to cover a little piece of my brush. but I want my brush to be covered evenly so that way it goes onto my face evenly. So sometimes I'll do that. This is more of a more watery foundation, so I can really just move it around and it just kind of slides itself to be a little more spread out. Now, I don't like getting foundation in my hair, so I always put on a headband. And I just keep a drawer full of headbands over there, so I just grabbed one. And I'm just going to put my hair back. So I'm going to show you this half with my brush. So what you're going to do if you're using a brush, get this. You're just going to take it and you're going to just dip it right into your foundation. I like to kind of swirl it around because it is a round top. So I just swirl it around, get a little bit of a nice coating of foundation on there, and then just start sweeping it onto my face. Some people do this part with their hands where they just kind of place foundation, where they'll just like take some foundation and just start dabbing it in spots on their face. I really don't like doing that just because now I've got foundation on my finger and that's foundation that could have been used on my face. So after I place some on there with my brush, I'm just going to start buffing it in. So I'm going to do circular motions and just start buffing it into my skin and spreading it out. Maybe I should zoom in. So around my hairline, I'm going to try and be careful to not throw it into my hairline, but I also got to make sure it goes all the way up to my hairline, or there's going to be like a ring around my face. So make sure you go all the way to your hairline, just don't go past it. Like here, I went a little bit past, so now there's some foundation in my hair. And this circular buffing motion is just going to keep it streak free, so you're not going to have like random streaks, plural, going across your face. Now when you get to your jawline, you don't want to have just a straight line here. So what I do is I start buffing it down my neck. So I start up here, and I bring it down. And I just do that all the way across. Start up here, bring it down. And that's just going to keep it blending natural into your neck so that there's not just a straight line, you know. Nobody likes that, seeing that line of unblended foundation. Make sure you get the flat, like the flat underneath of your nose. That skin doesn't need to be a separate color from the rest of your face. And whether or not you do your eyelids is really up to you. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, just because I use a colored eye primer, so it'll normally get covered later, but might as well since I have a little bit of foundation left on my brush. So that is how you get your foundation on using a round top brush. Now this is a medium to full coverage foundation, so I can still see my freckles coming in a little bit. It's like my brush shed. Or maybe it picked up some hairs. But I don't want to see that. Damn it. So since my freckles are poking through, I can go in for a second layer. Now this is a little dry now. You know, foundation's moist, so it'll go on wet, but once it dries just a little bit, you can go in with a second layer. So I'll just take my brush back into the foundation, get a nice coating again, and then just go over it again. I'll place some just where I think I need the extra coverage. So I almost always need extra coverage on my forehead, on my cheeks where I have freckles, and on my nose. I also have freckles there. And then I'll just look if there's any other spots that I want some more coverage. I think there's still a little bit peeking through here on my chin. So I'll just place some more foundation and then just buff it in again. Now the reason I say to wait to add the second layer till it's a little dry, till it dried a little, is because while foundation's wet, it's gonna move. And so I just find it easier with this specific foundation. With other ones, I normally don't have to add a second layer. So it might not be the same way with other foundations, but I just feel like it's easier to build on top of if you let it dry just a little bit. Can you guys hear my cat meowing? Anytime I come in here, she has to be here with me. So she's mad right now because she didn't know I was coming into my little office, so she got herself shut out. Now she's over there trying to open the door and meowing at it. Okay, so that is how to put on foundation with a brush. Now when you're using a sponge, a beauty blender, or whatever, you're going to start off one size and then you get it wet before you use it. So just run it under some water and just watch it grow. It's a really fun process to just watch it grow and then just squeeze out all the excess water until it's just damp, and then you can go in with it. This one's really dirty, but you see the difference in size? As soon as you get it wet, it just poofs up because it soaks up all the water since it's a sponge. So with a sponge, you will again just place your foundation on a glass palette. Again, some people like to use their finger to take it off the palette and place it on their face. I just go in with my sponge. Okay, sorry guys, my camera battery died. My charger isn't wanting to work because my dog chewed on it. So I had to get it positioned in just the right way for the charger to work. Now I think the angle is off again. That's fun. So you want to do a dabbing motion to put the foundation on, and this motion will just really push it into your skin and place it where you want it rather than moving it all over the place and leaving some places splotchy. Splotchy? That's a word. So you'll just dab it like this. And with a sponge, you really don't have to worry about it getting cakey because the whole purpose of a sponge is that it soaks up all the excess foundation. Now you don't want to press too hard because if you do, what's going to happen is, let's see if you guys can see. If I press too hard, can you see that circle where it just kind of squeezed all the foundation out onto my head? If I zoom in. You see that circle? That's what's going to happen all over your face if you're pressing too hard. So you just want to lightly dab. Okay, so like I was saying, you just want to lightly dab it so that it will blend it out nicely and it'll just place the foundation right where you want it. Now I have this heavy creasing in my eyelids because I have hooded eyes. So I have to blend it out a lot and then set it with powder to make sure it doesn't do that. But not everybody has hooded eyes, so some of you guys don't have to worry about that. Okay, so make sure to blend out the jawline with the sponge rather than dragging the foundation down. I just blend it and then use whatever's left on the sponge to kind of bring that color down without moving it all around. And like I said, I get more coverage with the sponge, so I don't see any freckles peeking out. I don't see any redness coming in here. My forehead looks fully covered, so I don't have to build up a second layer of foundation. And there's absolutely no shedding from a brush. There's no streak marks. I really just prefer the sponge, but sometimes I just am in a brush mood and will use brushes like crazy. So I'll let you compare the different sides. My thing is all messed up. Okay, I had to adjust my chair because I can't move the camera angle or the charger will stop working and the battery will die again. So this is the side with the sponge, and let me zoom you guys in so you can see there's like, it's smooth, it looks the same texture as skin, and that's just what the sponge does. It blends, I missed a spot up here, but it blends really well. I mean, not into my ears because I didn't cover my ears. And if you're going to be showing your ears, you should place just a little bit of foundation to cover it. And it'll just cover the redness. I'm wearing my hair down, so I didn't want to do that today, but you can if you want it to blend a little more, but I think it just looks nice and smooth and even. And then on this side, which is what we did with the brush, it just, I don't know, like, it's still smooth. It still looks really, really smooth. And you can see the texture of skin coming through, but I don't feel like it gives as much full coverage. And for some reason, my forehead always looks splotchy when I use a brush rather than the sponge, and I think that's just how my forehead is. You know, we had to do 2 layers on my nose and chin because redness will peek through if I use a brush, and I can see some redness peeking through here, just like the tiniest bit. I don't know if it'll pick up on camera. Sometimes I can see something in my little viewfinder, but then when I go to edit it on the computer, it's not there anymore, like the camera just didn't pick it up. So yeah, those are the 2 sides compared. Now, after you put on your foundation, you can, let me fix my hair. So after you put on foundation, you can do color corrector, concealer, and any other cream contouring products that you're going to use before setting it all with powder. But you do need to set your foundation with powder. If you're using a liquid foundation, you need to use powder to set it into place. It will move, it will shift, it will crease if you have hooded eyes or creases under your eyes like I do, maybe by your nose. It will crease if you don't set it with powder. But it is better to wait until it's not tacky. Like, you know, when you put foundation on, sometimes it feels a little tacky. Let it dry before you put powder on, and it just will give it a smoother texture. But concealer and all that is going to have to be another video because that is too much. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and then I will show you how to set your face so it doesn't crease. Okay, so I went ahead and put on all my other cream products. Now I'm going to take a translucent powder. This is the Airspun. I love this one. It is sweat proof. It is practically waterproof. It holds my makeup in place all day long. So this is what I'm going to use today. Now for setting your foundation, there are a lot of different options you can use. Some people use like a duo fiber kind of stippling brush. Or you can use, this is technically a blush brush, but you can use like a tulip shaped brush. I just don't have another one to show you. But I like to use, you can also use a kabuki brush. I just like to use this super, super fluffy powder brush. So what I'll do is just dip it right on in. This is a loose powder, so I just dip it right in, tap off all the extra. Now I've tapped off the excess powder, and I'm just going to dab it into my skin. Make sure to set the foundation that you brought down your neck, because that stuff will also move. Now after you have dabbed it into your skin, you can kind of buff it. Just make sure there's not, you know, a whole bunch of extra sitting on top of your skin. Anything that's extra gets taken away. And anything that's left just gets buffed right into the foundation. Now this is going to keep your foundation from moving. It's going to keep it from creasing anywhere. All that good stuff. It's just going to keep it in place. So that is it. After this, you would go in with any of your powder products, which is going to have to be a second video or third video, whatever. It's gonna have to be a separate video, but that is the end of this video, so I hope this helped. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget, you can also follow me on Twitter or Instagram at shewhospeaks _ instead of spaces, and I'm also on Snapchat at kimberly.nicole with a K, not a C. And if you are new, hit my face right here to subscribe so you can know when I make new videos. And if you want to watch some more videos right this second, there will be 2 listed right here for you to choose from. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!